Welcome to the second episode of Organizational Systems Research Methodologies. Today we're going to look at two people, Hegel and Marx, and I'm going to heed the feedback of the first video audience and keep this short. And I'm going to not wave the camera around and make you dizzy, all right? So let's get started. Last time we talked about Plato. And Plato had a form of dialectic where he developed the concept through finer and finer definitions or until the concept fell apart. So we started defining systems. We talked a little bit about Hegel and how Hegel's dialectic is quite different from Plato's, although he's still into the virtues and very spiritual. Hegel kind of embodies a Christian ethic. He believes that science is the crown of the spirit and that society actually progresses. Now we come forward to Marx, and Marx, along with Engels, toss out the whole idea of the spiritual, or try to, and we'll see that in a second. And they are full of the idea of Hegel and really never get away from Hegel, and that history unfolds in a certain process. And from Marx, we get the whole idea of the labor process theory. Now, we're going to have to jump ahead a little bit here, and I've drawn it out in the sand. Here you see kind of a peace symbol with a T, an F, and a W. The T stands for Taylorism. Now the Taylorism system worked on the factory floor, and they used a lot of time and motion studies, and we're going to actually do a time and motion study in the actual class meeting. And then Follett, Frenchman, he developed the administrative systems that are in use today. Chain of command is one of the biggies, and along with the same kind of division of labor that W has. And W is, of course, Max Weber, and Weber's bureaucracy is in a whole system of offices, departments, functions, bureaus, hiring by technical competence. Efficiency is very important to Taylor, Follett, and Weber. Now this is called, when we get to it later in the course, the Tfw Virus. Taylorism, Follellism, Weberism, the combination of those three systems together forms the Tfw virus. Now let's look at where it happens. I'm going to illustrate it here in the mud, and then I'll show you some more formal graphics. The first world, that was your craftsmen, your miners, your tradespeople, lived in family groups, except for the ship owners or the ship captains, didn't really travel a lot, stayed in the family community, married for life, were very spiritual, one religion or another, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, and Buddhism, etc. And that is the first world, the first system. Now the second world starts in the 1800s, culminates in 1850 with the combination of Taylorism, Follellism, and Weberism. I've put the three systems there in the symbol of the peace symbol. Now that is the Industrial Revolution, and that's where your organization system really develops its formula, its DNA, if you want to put it that way. The combination of those three systems together. And after the Industrial Revolution, we went to a service society, kind of post-industrial it's called. So I wrote the letters post here for number 3, the third world. And in some sense, we're still in that world, and it's taken off in the big fourth world, and I got C for the computer system, number 4. So we start with the pre-industrial family grouping, the craftsmen who apprenticed and were journeymen. You might apprentice for 5, 10 years to become a journeyman, for another 5, 6, 10 years, and then you could become a master of your own craft, your own ranch, your own farm, your own shop. That all ended when the labor process changed, and capital, according to Marx, could get more bang for the buck by instituting time and motion studies of the Taylor system, the Fayol system of administration, and the Weber system of bureaucracy. And it's basically your modern day corporation still has the Tfw virus, and it is a virus. It's an addiction. Then your post-industrial tries to break out of these addictions in various ways and become more agile, more flexible, more matrix, more postmodern, etc., etc. And basically it doesn't really take hold. Now when the computer revolution starts, and I did some archaeology this morning and I found some computer parts here that I'm going to put over by the sea. And basically you have bits of the screen, you have the computer chip invention, a motherboard, more kind of screen, etc. And these components form the computer. Now when I started the PhD program, about 1975, we weren't even using computers except for the mainframe, and we had job control language IBMs where you had punch card systems. And you punched out your cards all day long. You got them in a big box. You fed them into a computer, and the next day, if you were lucky and you didn't make any big mistakes, or actually even one, you'd get back a printout. It got a little better, and you could get your printout in a few hours if you had the right allocations of money in your account. And I burned up a lot of accounts. So when I left University of Illinois and got my first job at UCLA, they still had job control language. Nobody had their own computers except for a couple of people. Dick Remoult introduced me to building my own laptop computer. He had one in the strategy group I was in. And then I bought an Osborne portable computer, then a K-Pro, and I started working my way up the chain. And what I want to talk about is how the computer system is quite different than the previous three systems, in that we become more and more enslaved to the computer. So it's a different kind of slavery. When I first started as a professor, there was no email, there were no cell phones. I didn't even have satellite phones, as I remember. I certainly couldn't afford it if they did. And I used to get my messages on little pink slips of paper that the secretary filled in when the people called the office, and I will return call back later, wants an appointment, for your information. And I would get, 15 cards, 15 of these little pink slips, and I'd sort them out, and I'd call a few people back. And I was pretty much done for the day. Now, with email, I'm involved 24/7 with student advising, with working with colleagues around the world. I'm on Skype meetings with colleagues around the world. And I even have office meetings where sometimes I stay home and I Skype into the office. Now that all sounds like less work for me, but it's actually stretched out time. And it's expanded space. I'm pointing to the dimensions here, the space, time, and the mattering of this materiality called the computer. A lot of people think computers is virtuality, but it's actually, as you can see on the ground here, machine parts. And it is a machine. So we've gone from the industrial machine to the post-industrial service society, in which our services and products now in the computer systems world that we're in is totally involving and totally consuming. And you can get so addicted that you can't even drive down the street without texting and being on the cell phone. And I saw 2 accidents yesterday, probably for that reason. So that's it for today. We are in the computer system phase of late modern capitalism. Thank you.